Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a vegan mineral broth. It really does utilize many different ingredients that are both nutritious and medicinal. So I start off with all the scraps from my kitchen. So you'll see in here I have the stalks from the parsley, I have the tops of the leeks that I pulled from the garden, the ends of the celery, I even have some carrot tops and the bottoms of carrots too. So this is everything that's basically not going to go into my compost pile that can be used to make the broth. I also have here, this is the celery pulp from the celery juice I had this morning. This all goes into the first stage of the broth to get the veg base. And then I have some seaweed, which is a great source of lots of minerals, and it has a lot of iodine in it. So that's been soaking for a good couple of hours to really get its fullness. And then we have medicinal mushrooms as well. Medicinal mushrooms are amazing adaptogenic. They're really good for our nervous system. They help to balance our system, and they're really great for our immunity as well. So we have chaga and reishi, and we have mitake, and then we also have wood ear as well. And I have one shiitake, and then I have snow fungus, which is also called tremella. And it is one of the richest sources of plant-based collagen. So when we look at bone broths, normally we know that it's going to be very collagen rich. It's going to be great for our skin. It's also going to be great for our digestive system lining. And so this is going to be such a great addition. It's not an easy mushroom to find, but if you can find it, I strongly recommend getting some for your broth. These are the nutritive herbs that we're going to add. This is bamboo leaf. And bamboo leaf is also a strong source of collagen. It tastes a little bit like green tea when you make it as a tea, but we're going to add it into the broth and simmer it down. This is nettles. Nettles is a great source of iron, and it's got lots of minerals in it. And this is another one that I really like to add to my broth to give it a real rich flavor and a beautiful strong color as well. This is a little less known. This is soursop leaf. Soursop leaf, or graviola, it comes from the tropics. So it's like a really beautiful big fruit, but the leaves of this is known as an anti-carcinogenic, and it also helps with the nervous system. So lots of these that you'll see today really work on our body as a whole. They work on our nervous system, which helps to regulate the whole body. Over here we have ashwagandha, which is again very good for stress. And we have dandelion, which is very cleansing, helps to clear out our urinary system, our waterworks. And then we have burdock, which is incredibly good for the liver. It's really deep, it's got this beautiful, rich, sweet flavor to it. I love burdock. You can add it to any soup. And then here we have turmeric root, which is a really good anti-inflammatory. Very good, again, for our brain health. We have ginger, which is incredible for the gut, another anti-inflammatory. And I have some dried turmeric as well. And we have garlic, which is very antibacterial and going to add that really rich flavor. And then just for a little bit more flavor, I like to add dried daikon and dried onions. That'll just help to kind of like give it that real richness of flavor. And then last, but by no means least, we have bay leaves. So this is it. These are our ingredients, and don't feel limited to these ingredients. Like, have a little look in your own cupboard. Maybe you want to add some rosemary, which is very good for the gut. Maybe you want to add other herbs like thyme, which is also a very good antiviral and antibacterial properties. So really it's about what you have available to you. All of these are in my cupboards. So this is just what I have in my life. Maybe you have different scraps, maybe you have different mushrooms, maybe you can look at some of the teas that you have and put them together and really make something that is flavorful and enjoyable for you. Trial and error, never be afraid to make mistakes. You can always make a batch, and if it's not exactly how you want it to be, you can use it as a base for a soup. So we're going to start off with the main broth. This is filtered water. So I'm just going to fill this up and boil this away. And you'll see all of my kitchen scraps are going in here. And then this will just sit on the stove for 20 minutes. And I'll come back and strain this when it's ready. So I made the broth and I've strained out all of the kitchen scraps. And as you can see, even just from the kitchen scraps, from the celery pulp, from the leek tops, from the carrot tops, you can see just how much nutrients are already in this broth. So I'm going to add this. I've got a little bit more in here as well. And then I'm going to start heating this up and I'm going to start adding to it all of these wonderful ingredients. So now we're going to add all of the medicine to this already nutritious veggie broth. And I'm going to start off with the seaweed. And I'm going to add the seaweed soak water, along with this is kelp, wakame and dulse. And then I'm going to add the roots and the mushrooms. So here I have some dandelion root and the burdock and ashwagandha, which is an incredible stress adaptogenic. Alongside these, I have a couple of slices of reishi, very calming to the system. And then we have the chaga, which is very strengthening. Some shiitake, some maitake, and the wude, which is an incredible for the immunity. And then the snow fungus, which is a great source of collagen. So I'm just going to give all of those a nice stir. And you can already see the snow fungus softening, and the colour of the broth is beginning to change. Now I'm going to add the fresh turmeric, dried turmeric, the fresh ginger, the garlic, which I've crushed a little bit just to help release, dried onions, dried daikon, which is a radish, which really gives a really strong, rich flavour, and the bay leaves. And last but by no means least, we have our nutritive herbs. So we have the bamboo leaves, a great antioxidant and source of collagen. And we have the soursop leaves or graviola. And we have the nettles, which is great for building blood. It's good for feminine health or prostate health, really strengthening. And all of the herbs here are going to nourish our nervous system. They're going to work on our foundational systems to strengthen them, to help us to deal with stress easier. It will help build our blood, lower our blood sugar levels, and strengthen immunity, lower inflammation. And I will show you what this looks like once we've strained. It will almost be a dark, dark brown. So here we have the vegan mineral broth. This is what it's going to look like when it's finished. This nice, dark, rich colour. After straining the liquid, you can taste it and just see your flavour preference. If it's a little bit bitter, you might want to add some root vegetables or some squash to the mixture and just reboil it down. This will just add a sweetness and make it a little bit more palatable if you find it bitter. Always remember to take everything that you've been making the broth with and return it back to the earth. So if you have a compost pile, put it in the compost pile, and if you don't, you can even scatter this into your flower beds. It will be really great for the soil and it will help to put nutrients back into the earth. You can take out the reishi or the chaga if they're in chunks and still use those to make tea out of. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you'll make something that keeps you nourished and feeling good throughout your fast.